Perfect.
All right, Mark, welcome to Founders Club.
Oliver Graff, thanks so much for having me. Big fan, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you again. Likewise, and very excited to have the Land Geek on the show, talking about all things land. And I know that a lot of people don't really get excited about land because it's kind of like the redheaded stepchild of the real estate business. Um, it kind of doesn't get the attention that other types of real estate do. And I hear people say, oh, it doesn't cash flow, and oh, it just sits there, and it's just a liability sort of a thing, doesn't really appreciate unless you're in like a really good market. So why don't we start with kind of addressing that? Why land, and why now?
Yeah. So these are all really good points. So the way that the model works, the way I buy and sell land, first of all, everything you said is true. If you are a land banker, and the typical model is the hockey stick model, right? You buy a piece of land and it has no cash flow. It's negative cash flow. You got to pay property taxes every single year. And so that's a good point. So it just sits there. Maybe it appreciates, maybe it doesn't. Ideally, you're buying in the path of growth as a land banker, and it looks like this. And the developer comes in and they get the hockey stick. But that could be 20, 30 years. Terrible investment. So now let's turn it on its head. And let me kind of walk you through step by step how I buy and sell raw land to make it cash flow. And so, Oliver, let's use you as a case study. Is that cool?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, where do you live?
I live in San Diego.
Okay, so you've lost all complaining privileges, number one. But number two, we'll assume that you own some raw land in Colorado. Let's say it's 5 acres. And
Okay.
let's assume that you owe $200 in back taxes. And so you're essentially advertising two important things. Number one, you're in California, the property's in Colorado, you have no emotional attachment to the raw land. And number two, you're financially distressed in some weird way because we don't pay for things like our property taxes. We don't value it in the same way. And as a result, the county treasurer keeps sending you notices saying, Oliver, you don't pay your property taxes, you're going to lose that property to a tax deed or a tax lien investor. So all I'm going to do is look at the comparable sales in your 5-acre parcel for the last 12 to 18 months. Now I'm going to take the lowest comparable sale. Let's just use easy math. Let's say it's $10,000. And then I'm going to divide by 4. That's going to get me what Warren Buffett would call a 300% margin of safety. So I send you an actual offer for $2,500. Now you accept it. Why? Because for you, $2,500 is better than nothing. Now, in reality, 3 to 5% of people accept my quote unquote top dollar offer. But now that you've accepted it, I have to go through due diligence or in-depth research. I have to confirm you still own the property. I have to confirm back taxes are only $200. I have to make sure there's no breaks in the chain of title, no liens or encumbrances. And so because it's only $2,500, I'm going to outsource to my team in Jamaica. They're connected to an American title company. It's going to cost me about $12. But let's assume everything checks out. Now, if I was spending, let's say, more than $5,000, I'm not taking any title risk. I'm just going to close traditionally through a title company or an abstractor. But we'll assume everything checks out. And I'm going to send you a check for $2,300. I'm going to send the treasurer a check for $200. I own it free and clear. And now I'm going to sell it ideally 30 days or less. So Oliver, I have a built-in best buyer. Do you know who it is?
Who?
The neighbors. The neighbors.
Yeah.
So I'm going to send out neighbor letters saying, hey, here's your opportunity. Protect your privacy, protect your views, know your neighbor. So oftentimes the neighbors will buy. Now, if the neighbors pass, I'll go to my email list, my buyers list. The buyers list passes, I go to a little website you may have heard of called Meta or Facebook buy-sell groups in the marketplace. There's only 2 billion people on there. Okay. And then I might go to Craigslist, and then I might go to the lands, land.com, landmoto.com, landfarm.com, landflip.com, landcentury.com, landhub.com. Yeah. There's all the lands. And these are platforms where people buy and sell raw land. But the secret's in the pricing. So all I'm going to ask for is a $2,500 down payment for someone else to control this 5-acre parcel. And then I'm just making a car payment. let's say $399 a month at 12% interest for the next 60 months. So I get this one-time sale. I'm going to get my money out on the down payment. Now I could go 6 to 10 months out, depending on the market. And now I'm getting $399 a month at 12% interest. However, no renters, no rehabs, no renovations, no rodents. And because I'm not dealing with a tenant, I'm exempt from Dodd-Frank, RESPA, and the SAFE Act, all this owner's real estate legislation. And then it's a simple game. Can I create enough land notes where my passive income exceeds my fixed expenses? And then I'm working because I want to, not because I have to.
No, I love that. So, if what I heard you say, the model is basically you are firing off offers to a list of data that you pull of owners that whatever it is are out of state, like you said, maybe they're back on taxes. You're targeting these lists and you're just cold sending offers at, it sounds like, very low, 25% on the dollar, on today's dollar. You get a small percentage of them to accept that offer. Now you're able to buy it at 25 cents on the dollar. Maybe you sell it retail for 80 to 100 cents on the dollar, and you're asking for enough down payment to get your initial money back, and then seller financing it the rest at a payment that is just putting money in your pocket every month.
Exactly. You got it. You got it.
That's amazing. Why does that sound too easy?
Well, it's simple, but you and I both know there's nothing worth doing that's easy. And so, there's lots of components to it.
Okay.
Right? You've got to get a list. You got to scrub a list. You have to upload a list to automate your offers using software. You've got to price that list. Then when the offers come back, you've got to have intake. You've got to talk to the sellers. Maybe you have to negotiate and retrade. Then you have to go to a company like, you have to create a deed. Then you have to go to a company like simplifile.com. You got to record that deed. Now you own the property. Then you got to start marketing, right? You got to write an ad. So you have to have some marketing. You got to have a little bit of sales knowledge. And then you've got to have follow-up as well. Because once there's a land buyer, there's always a land buyer. So you have to keep following up with them. What else do you want to buy? And so there's all these components, but the way that I like to teach it for people who have no real estate experience is we have a recipe. You just follow the recipe. 90% of this business is automated with software on the front end, software on the back end, and inexpensive virtual assistants. Because the last thing anybody wants is to build themselves another job.
True. Yeah. Okay, so let's break this down a little bit. So let's talk about how to find the deals, right? And then maybe like what software and how you're sending offers we can get to next. But step one, it sounds like, is identifying a market or an area, and then what are you doing to get that list dialed in the way you like it?
Yeah, such a great question, because really this is the core piece of the business. I mean, Oliver, let's just be honest. Nobody wakes up and thinks to themselves, boy, I'd like some raw land in Iowa today, unless you live in Iowa. So we want to focus on the fast growing states in the sunshine states. We want to focus on Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, Texas, Florida, California, Washington, Oregon, maybe parts of the Midwest. So these are your sunshine states. These are your states that have a plethora of inexpensive raw land, an hour to 3 hours from the nearest city. And the way that I'm going to do it as somebody that's just never heard of raw land buying is I'm just going to what I call Samsung it, right? So Samsung copies the iPhone because the iPhone's successful. All you have to do is copy land sellers who you know are already successful. So you start at a website like landmodo.com and you see, whoa, wait, where are other people buying land? And then I would look at my budget. And so if I only have $10,000, well, I'm not going to start in California. I'm going to go where there's land that I know is going to fit my budget. And I want to start with 5 to 7 pieces of property, because the last thing I want to do is be a chicken company with no chicken. I only buy one piece of property. I sell that piece of property, I'm out. So what within my budget can I buy 5 to 7 pieces of property? And
Okay.
that's really where we're going to start. And then as far
So
as
let's use
getting that
that. Let's
list, we'll
use
talk about
that.
data.
Let's use that example you just had. Someone has an extra 10 grand, 20 grand, something like that, and they're thinking, man, I could, maybe I could go buy a little rental condo somewhere, or I can do this land strategy. How would you coach them? It sounds like you're not saying go buy one piece of land for 20 grand. You're saying buy 10 $2,000 pieces of land and go that route.
Absolutely. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
And where are we finding land for that little money? I know that some people play the buying desert squares game and they're just buying land out in the middle of nowhere. What are some of your like criteria? Like, does it need to be on a road? Does it need to have certain boxes checked? What do you like to look for?
Yeah, I mean, Oliver, I've been doing this for 25 years. I've done it over 6,500 times now. I've never been stuck with a piece of raw land. So there is a pig for every barn. So I don't put my nose up. I'm not a land snob. If it's a desert square and I can buy it 25, 30 cents a dollar, I'm buying it. If it's an
Okay.
infill lot in a beautiful neighborhood, 25, 30 cents a dollar, I'm buying it. If
Okay.
it's on a road, great. If it's next to a mountain, great. If it's treed, great. I don't care. I'm making my money on the buy.
Okay.
So
So
I
it
learned this
sounds
the
like the
hard way.
main part of the strategy is figuring out what you think it would sell for in today's market, and then 25% of that is the offer you're shooting out.
Exactly. It depends on the market. So some markets, like in Florida, maybe it's 35 cents now, inflation.
Okay. And back to what list are you targeting, and then how do you send the mail?
Right. So I'm going on a site like landmoto.com and I'm finding my county. Now I'm going to go to a SaaS product called lgpass.com. And
What was it?
lgpass.com, LG and then
Got it.
PASS.com. So I'm
Okay.
going to go there and then I'm going to subscribe to Land Geek data. And I'm going to use that data. I'm going to go and I'm going to filter for my list in there. And it's going to download that list and it's going to actually upload it automatically into this software so I can automate my mailing. The idea being I can always make more money. I can't get more time. So this is going to give me good data. It's going to save me time. And then via this API that we use, it's going to do address verification as well. So we're going to maximize our mailing dollars. So
Okay.
that's going to be the first step.
Okay. So you're getting the data, you've identified a market, and just to touch on that again, you're looking for markets where land is already selling. So it has high turnover of sales happening, and then which obviously you could find pretty easily on like a Zillow or a Redfin or any site. And then you're using this data provider to scrub the list based on out of state owner or whatever the things are that you're looking for, and then you're uploading that list into a software which automatically sends out your offers.
Exactly. Yeah. So it auto
And what
populates that letter and it sends out the
okay.
offers. Yeah.
And what software is it, and how does it know what number to send out? Are you pre-programming that, or are you
You are
doing diligence
pre-programming
on
it.
everyone?
No, we
Okay,
don't do due diligence until they get accepted.
got
So
it.
that's a big newbie mistake because if I have 1,000 letters, that's a lot of work for
Mm,
a 3 to 5% acceptance rate. So let's send
right.
out our offers first and then see what comes back, and then we'll do due diligence. And so in the software, I can say I'll send out 100 offers, 1,000 offers. I can do a drip 30 a day. Depends on what you want to do.
And what software is that?
It's LG Pass,
Oh, the same
PASS.com.
one. Got it.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
cool.
LGPass.com. So that's
All
your
right,
front
and
end piece of the software.
cool. And then so we're sending out these offers. The software shoots them out. I'm guessing we just pay for postage or whatever. And then someone calls in, or what's the call to action?
The call to action is Oliver, I want to buy your land for
For this much
$2,500.
money.
for this
Okay.
much money, and you say, great, and you sign that offer and you know, email it back to me or you call me up, you say, hey, I got your offer, I'm interested. Because the last thing I want to do, again, I don't want to be in the appraisal business. I don't want to send a blind offer and say, I'm interested in buying your land. Like, oh, I'm interested in selling my land. And now we're in the appraisal business.
Okay. All right. So let's say I call in. I'm like, Mark, I got your offer. What percentage of the time are they just accepting it versus saying this is a ridiculously low offer? You got to come up.
Yeah. So if I'm getting a 3 to 5% response rate, I'm probably getting more of like a 1.5% close rate, which means
Okay.
that after due diligence or after, you know, they tell me, you know, go pound sand. And usually it's not that nice. I can buy 1.5%, 1 to 1.5%. So for every 100 offers, I'm buying a deal.
Okay. I mean, that seems pretty good. Um, and then how much negotiating or how high are you willing to go on the people that don't necessarily take your low offer but are still interested in doing something?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a meek counter offer for sure. If they're like, oh, can you go up $50, $100? I'm like, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're playing in the lower price point land, um, so there's less emotional attachment. Because I think if someone has a 300, I'm thinking, I'm in California again with California prices. I'm thinking a $300,000 lot. I don't see anyone, and again, I could be totally wrong here, but I don't see anyone taking like 50 grand for their $300,000 lot.
Yeah. If I'm in San Diego, I'm not
Yeah,
taking anything less than 110, 120% on my raw land. I'm going to the biggest, baddest land broker in town and selling it. This is why we go an hour to 3 hours outside those big
got it.
cities. We're looking for more
Okay.
rural land where, to your point, people are way less emotionally attached, especially if
Okay.
they're out of state owners.
Okay. And it sounds like you're saying for every 100 of those offers, how much are you spending a month to send these offers? And like, how many are you sending a month, would you say?
So I have a team now. I would say that, you know, the way that we do it, we're probably averaging $5,000 a month on offers and
Okay.
figure on average a buck an offer.
Okay. All right.
But when you
Um,
first start, I wouldn't recommend that.
yeah. And then let's go back. That's what I was going to say. Let's take a half step back to when you were getting started or how you're coaching your students to get started. What is your kind of
I would say a
uh,
thousand offers.
1,000? Okay.
Yeah, because
And
then I
you
can
can do
handle the
that.
due diligence and I can have a team and I can have an intake manager
Yeah.
um, to do that. Otherwise, I'm just overwhelmed and I can't, you know, the speed to lead is so slow with that many coming back.
And have you noticed a difference between just sending like, "Hey, I want to buy your land" cards versus "Here's an offer"?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I want the lowest hanging fruit, especially when I start. I'm working a W-2 job. I can't be on the phone all day negotiating.
Yeah.
I just
Okay.
can't.
Okay. And so when they receive your letter, are they like opting into something or are they just direct calling you or what is how do they facilitate
Yeah, I
if
mean,
they
it depends on you. If you're real techie, you could have some, you know, a QR code on your offer, and they could go to you know, a lead form. We're pretty old school. It's just like, hey, fax or call or email us and let us know.
Okay. Okay. So they just get your offer and then call you.
Yep.
Okay. Um And then once you take control of the property, get it under contract, they accept your offer. Is your Do you ever look at like wholesaling as an exit or quick flipping, or are you mainly taking it down, relisting it with seller financing?
Okay, so for me personally, I don't want cash. I want cash flow. And I think that
Okay.
cash flow is the antidote to financial insecurity. Because if I'm
Mm,
flipping or I'm wholesaling, now I'm on the job. Oh, now I've I'm gonna go do it again, right? I gotta pay taxes, go do it again. So now I'm in the job of velocity of money. There's nothing wrong with that if that's solving your money problem. But I'm more interested in solving my money problems and my time problems.
Mm, okay. And then, so when you put it on the market, you're listing it with seller financing in place, X amount down, plus the monthly payments. How long of a term are you usually putting that out for? Is it like a 10-year, 5-year?
It depends on the property and my yield. So in the market, but typically, I want a minimum of a 72% yield.
Say that again,
A
72%
72% yield.
yield. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty significant. So that's cool. And then how are you facilitating that? I'm sure you're not just like putting that into QuickBooks and like chasing payments every month. Do you
Okay. So
use like a,
now we've got the back end, which is
yeah.
geekpay.io. It's a set it and forget it payment system.
Mm,
And so I'm going to collect my down payment via either credit card or ACH. And then I'm going to get my monthly payments via ACH from their checking account. So it's, I don't want to partner at 2.9% with Stripe, which you can't even do anyways. But you can't do debt on debt. It's illegal. But so I have to do it through ACH. And
got it.
then if they default, they've got 30 days secure with our land contract. And a land contract is very different than a deed of trust, because a deed of trust, they own the land. And now I have to go through the foreclosure process because I have a lien on it. But a land contract, I still own that property. And so they get notice, they have 30 days to secure their default. And if they don't make that payment, I keep the down payment, I keep their monthly payment. They've lowered my cost basis and I resell it.
Mm.
And that
So you're
juices
selling
my
with a
yield
land
even more.
contract. Is that kind of just like a lease option sort of a thing?
No,
Like,
a
hey,
land contract is an old school way of selling land.
okay. And it
Yeah,
basically just means they don't get the deed in their name until it's fully paid off. Is that the
correct.
very
Because
cool.
this is what makes this market so great, is that banks don't loan. And so because a bank won't lend on a piece of raw land, you have to seller finance.
Mm. And that's the opportunity for you.
And that's the opportunity for me. We become the bank.
Yeah. Love that. And then when someone doesn't pay, what is your cause to cure? What do you do from there?
So Geek Pay just automates it
Okay.
and gives them notice, and they have 30 days to cure.
And then I'm saying if they don't, then what happens?
Then they've lost that property. I resell it, and they've lowered my cost basis. So I keep the down
And I'm
payment. I
guessing
keep
that
their
doesn't
monthly
happen a whole
payments.
lot because once people, excuse me, once people put the money in, they're probably pretty committed.
You'd think so, but it depends on the market. So right now, and it depends on your down payment. So if it's a low down payment, you might have a 12% default rate, which is
Mm,
great. If the market turns, you might have a 20% default rate. In the Great Recession, I had a 50% of my note portfolio go away. And I talk about it in my book, Dirt Rich.
And so it sounds like that does happen. And then when that does happen, they have their 30 days plus the 30 days to cure. If they don't, you take it over. They lose all their down payment and everything. You can
Yeah,
put it back on the market, get a new down payment, get someone new into the loan, and go right back to business as usual.
correct.
That's nice, especially without having to go through a foreclosure. That's amazing.
Yeah. This is why I call it the best passive income model. But
Yeah.
to your point, like in the beginning of the podcast, you couldn't think of a more boring real estate niche. Like you're
Yeah.
not going to go on HGTV or the DIY network and see Flip This Land. The before pictures raw land, the after pictures raw land, and it's
Yeah.
not sexy. I'm not going to go to a RIA conference, right? Like 100 people in the room, 99 of them are flippers, wholesalers, and landlords. Talking
Right.
about how many doors you own is sexy. Multifamily is sexy. Raw
Yeah.
land, boring. Just sits there.
Yeah, true. But hey, that's where the opportunity is. So we'll take it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so once you taken a half step back from selling, once you've sent out the mail, gotten the response, they've agreed. What does your due diligence look like, and how long do you have before you have to put your money at risk?
We can close in 7 days. We're going to do a title report. We're going to make sure that there's ingress and egress or legal access. We want to make sure there's something compelling about the property. We want to make sure we can physically access the property. We want to get the story on that property. But because there's not typically very long chains of title on a piece of raw land, the due diligence compared to a house or an apartment building, there's very little brain damage on it, relatively speaking. And so for these smaller deals, we pay about $12. We're connected to an American title company to do it. So, I might, if
And
it's
that works nationwide. That works nationwide.
Yeah, yeah.
And
so,
what was that title company?
Well, no, we're connected to an American title company. We're connected like a first
Okay.
AM. Yeah.
Got it.
And then, as far as like if I'm getting to a new area that I've never been, I might put a Craigslist gig out there for someone local, have them go out, shoot pictures, shoot video, fill out my property report. What's the road look like? How far from the nearest services? What's the
how are
neighbor doing?
you,
Is anybody dumping property out there?
Yeah, for sure. And how are you handling properties that maybe don't have they're landlocked, or maybe they have wetlands or any of that kind of funky stuff, endangered animals, all that kind of funky stuff that exists in the land space?
Yeah, for me, I'm gonna go to make sure it's not in a super fun site. So I'm going to go to EPA.gov. Now, typically in the markets we're buying, we're not buying in Ohio or New Jersey or Pennsylvania, very industrialized areas where someone might be dumping, and then I'm liable for a $10 million cleanup. So I want to avoid those areas. But as far as legal access, it depends. If the highest and best use is recreational, I'll buy it. If the highest best use is development, I'm not going to buy it, because if it doesn't have ingress and egress, I'm not going to be able to get a construction loan. So
And how does that factor into your purchase price? Like, let's say something's landlocked or doesn't have great access, but to your point, you'll still buy it because you might still be able to, make money on it, but it might not fetch the same retail dollar amount. Like, is it 50 cents on the dollar at that point, or
Well, again, I'm
what
buying
how
at
do you,
25 cents on the dollar and I'm flipping it. Usually the neighbors will buy those properties.
Mm. And then you just pull a list of the neighbors and send them mail? Is that kind of the
Yeah, I can do that through my data through lgpass.com. I can get a list of the
Very
neighbors and automate sending out mailing the neighbor letters.
Okay. So if the property does have wetlands or access issues, you're not further reducing from that 25%. That 25% kind of has built in to account for all that.
I might, yeah.
Okay.
But if they say no, I still have margin there.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not real picky. I'm not real
Okay.
picky.
Oh, I like that. Assuming you can get it cheap enough.
Assuming I can get it cheap enough. Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 I equate it to like McDonald's, right? Like, yeah, I don't eat McDonald's, but a billion people do. So would I
Yeah.
buy a McDonald's franchise? Absolutely, I would. Even though, you and I probably wouldn't buy this raw land, but there's a lust for land in this country, especially rural land. So give the market what they want.
Yeah, I love that. Also, I know that there's funding that exists for people that want to do this and maybe don't have the cash kind of ready to go. Do you have people that work with funders and kind of like hard money people that can help put these kind of deals together? Or what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, typically these are so inexpensive. Money doesn't drive the deal, but at some point you will run out of money. And so at that point, I always recommend you do a debt deal with family and friends and say, hey, Oliver, you got money sitting in the bank there earning nothing. I'll give you 10%, 8%, 12%, 16%, whatever it is. And let's do, first year interest only. And then I'll pay you off in, 5 years. And if you want to compound and roll it over after 5 years, we'll do that. You're like, great. And what's nice is that I can say, hey, look, I got this $1 million land portfolio. Worst case, I can go to this guy, the Land Geek. He'll buy it for me, 50 cents on the dollar. So you have almost no risk.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. I like that. So let's say you went the friends and family route. Do you have a system for like tracking all that, making sure people are getting paid on time, or is that just manual bookkeeping?
Geekpay.io. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, it does that?
Yeah.
All right, geekpay.io. That's one we're gonna have to check out.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. And then anything in the due diligence that is a red flag or a deal breaker for you?
If I can't get there, if the ranchers, put a fence out there and I can't get to it, that's a red flag. If the neighbors are dangerous or they're dumping, that's a red flag. Other than that, there's almost no issue I can't resolve. I can resolve an IRS lien. I can resolve liens. I can resolve encumbrances.
Very cool.
Yeah. If there's a break in the chain of title, I can fix it.
Yeah, and I know a lot of the times in these more rural areas, you're dealing with counties that don't really have good systems for accessing information, or if you wanted just like a plat map or something, like they're really hard to get sometimes. Do you have any advice for those types of situations when you're dealing with small town, government offices?
Yeah. I mean, we use a website called simplifile.com. And if it's not a Simplifile site or Simplifile County, we'll typically try to pass on it, especially if I'm a newbie, because there's enough of them. It just makes it so much simpler, because then I know the county is going to be more modernized than, say, one that isn't on Simplifile.
And Simplifile is what?
It's a way to record a deed.
Oh, cool. So everything's digitized.
Everything's digitized. And so same thing with my mapping, and I can get data again from lgpass.com as well.
Yeah, because I was looking at a deal in South Carolina, and I called. I'm like, hey, I'm trying to find the boundary lines, this and that, trying to find if there's access. Oh yeah, we can get that to you. It's going to be about 3 weeks. I'm like 3 weeks? Like, who has 3 weeks to sit around and wait?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So Simplifile, and that they have all the locations on there?
They do. Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. Okay, cool. Is there anything else that we missed in terms of like the system of buying and cash flowing land?
No, I think we hit it all. I think if I'm listening to this, I might be a little skeptical in the sense like, if it's so great, why is Mark teaching it? Right. And so
good question, Mark.
It's a great question, right? Because it's fair. How many times have you seen people like me that have, they were successful in what, 2001? They're like, oh yeah, do this, and they're making money on the information. They're not doing deals. So it's a fair question. And it's 2011. I'm on vacation with my family in San Francisco, and I get a call. This guy Tori, and he calls me, and he's on my website. I think he wants to buy a piece of land. He's like, actually, I'm interested in learning how to do what you do. I said, well, I don't teach people how to do this. He's like, well, what if I pay you this? I'm like, oh, okay. So I go to my wife. I'm like, honey, this guy wants me to teach him the land business. She's like, that's a terrible idea. You're going to create your own competition. Well, I have an investment banking background. So I'm like, okay, well, let's just analyze the market. And so after the analysis, there are billions, not millions, there are billions of acres of raw land just in the United States. There's no big money in this niche. There's no hedge funds. There's no private equity groups. Oliver, you, me, a million people could be in this niche. We'll all run out of money before we run out of deal flow. So I did a deal with Tori. We each made $300,000 together. It changed his life. And it was so gratifying for me. I'm like, I like this. So I hired a guy to teach me how to teach people. And then I branded myself the Land Geek. And there's been nothing more gratifying for me when someone's like, Mark, you changed my life. And to help somebody solve not just their money problems, but their time problems so that they can spend even more time with their friends and family, even more time with their community, even more time traveling. It's been the best. And so, yeah, my land business is great for my family. It is. But to help other people, especially at this stage of my life, is, it's hard to describe the feeling.
I love that. Yeah. What a perfect way to end. Also, two kind of final things to wrap with. In 60 seconds or less, what does it take to be a successful land investor?
Grit. And that's for anything in life. If you want to be an entrepreneur, it's kind of like a hockey player. You've got to love it enough to get your teeth knocked out and get back up. Again, this is a simple model, but there's nothing in life worth doing that's easy. This is not get rich quick. This is get wealthy slow. And if you don't have grit, you're just going to keep bouncing around from one thing to another. You're going to go to another podcast and be like, oh, screw it. Airbnb investing. You're like, oh, wait, that one's hard too. Screw it. Burr method. They're all intrinsically hard.
It's simple, not easy.
So nothing's easy. Nothing's easy. I wish it were.
Yeah. And what would your advice be to those that want to dip dip their big toe in the pool of land investing?
Get educated. For your listeners, I have my book, Dirt Rich. It's going to kind of give you a little more detail than what we talked about today. It's free. All you have to do is pay for shipping. So click on that link that Oliver will provide. And I would start there and then see if the model resonates with you. And if it does, take action.
Love that. Yeah, definitely check out his book. He's going to be giving it away for free for us. All you got to do is pay the shipping and handling. So we'll put the link down in the description below. And, again, Mark, appreciate your time on all this. It's been an enlightening interview. I've been doing a couple land deals myself lately, and it's been something I've enjoyed a lot. So looking forward to doing more deals and watching your success and learning some things as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Oliver. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. And as always, guys, make sure you check out the links in the description. And if you like money and you like real estate, hit that subscribe button because this is the show for you. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Oliver.